Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at your best life. So whether you guys are working to create a life where you are happier and more fulfilled, or where you're reaching your full potential, where you're aligning with your purpose and serving others, or all of the above, we're going to see what exactly it looks like for you when you are living your best life. And we're also gonna get advice for how you can align with that. And I hope that this reading can be confirmation for you guys that you're on the right path, or guidance to help you align with this path. So there are 4 readings for you guys to choose from today. I'm going to show you each of these crystals up close one by one, and please pick whichever one or ones you feel drawn to the most. Number 1 is Fluorite. Number 2 is Rainbow Aura Quartz. Number 3 is Labradorite. And number 4 is Rose Quartz. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the Fluorite, this is going to be your reading. I just saw 111 and that reminded me, I wanted to tell you guys when I was filming the intro and holding this up to the camera timer went to 111 during that as well. And you guys are group number 1, so repeating ones might be a sign that you see to let you know that you are on the right path to building your best life and that you're about to manifest something. So let's get into the decks. I'm gonna pull 6 cards, I think, from each deck. And there's gonna be 3 to describe your best life, 2 for advice, and then we'll take the bottom of the deck as what your higher self wants you to know the most right now. Yeah, I think we'll do it that way. So let's start with the tarot. Okay, my lovely group number 1s, let's start by getting some cards. Whoop, okay. This one fell right out into my lap, the 6 of Cups. What cards describe group number 1's best life? The King of Cups, and wow, the Page of Cups. Interesting. All cups energy. So you guys could be a water sign, or there could be a lot of significant water signs in your life. Scorpio energy is coming through here with the 6 of Cups. This is Scorpio sun. And then I also feel strong Pisces energy just because the amount of fish that are present here. But Cancer is a water sign as well, which could very much be significant. So let's get a couple cards now for your advice. How to align with this life. Okay, we have the Devil. And Death. Interesting. 2 major arcana. And then your bottom of the deck energy is the 10 of Wands. So let's get some oracle cards to clarify these. All right, starting with the 6 of Cups. Why is the 6 of Cups here? What does it represent in this spread? What is it referring to? Motivation. Anything that fuels your productivity, your momentum, or your drive. Lighting up your inner fire. Or this could be a hidden or unconscious desire that is driving your actions. Okay, and why is the King of Cups here? What is it referring to in this spread? What is the King of Cups trying to tell us? It's funny how it landed so perfectly on there. Assert, to claim, to take space, to remain honest and confident. I like that. I like that, clarifying the King of Cups. To clarify the Page of Cups, we have express, makes sense, to communicate, to make your thoughts and feelings known, to allow truth to flow through. And what about the Devil? Why is the Devil here? What is the Devil trying to tell us? Honor, to respect, to treat with esteem, to make seen, to commit, to align with integrity, to say yes to your desires and needs, to affirm your no's. And to clarify death, we have ancestry, generations, DNA. And then our bottom of the deck energy is explore. To explore, learn, and to expand your horizons, to absorb and download new information, to venture into new terrain, to brainstorm and gather ideas. Okay, I'm going to drink some water before we dive into it. I just saw 555 as well, so it seems that, okay, what this number means for you guys, this 555, is that if there is any area of your life or anything in your life that is out of alignment with your highest good, the divine will come in and make necessary adjustments to get you on the right path. So I would keep in mind, if you experience any sudden changes in your life, or if you feel like you are being nudged towards a transition in your life, this is probably happening to realign you with your best path, to realign you with your best life. So remember that any changes happening at this time, they are very much for the best. Change can definitely be scary and uncomfortable, but it will lead to good things for you. And also on that note, if you guys have been debating about making a change in your life and you're kind of on the fence, because again, it can be scary and uncomfortable, I do think that this is your sign to go forward with it and make that change. I think the fact that we have explore here as the bottom of the deck energy, and then we also have a number 10, which is like an ending and a new beginning. It seems like your higher self is longing for a new adventure. And I think your soul wants to do something that is your soul does want to do something that is easier. Either in the sense that it is less work or it's less stressful. Your soul wants to be relieved of stress, wants to do something easier or more fun, wants you to give yourself permission to do that. I get the feeling when I look at this of someone, I'm hearing like, I tried the whole hustle culture thing and it didn't work for me. I tried the whole like career thing, the conventional career path thing, and it didn't work for me. Like it's too stressful. It's too much pressure. And I don't need to put myself under this pressure if it doesn't work for me. I think your soul wants to just have more fun and explore more. And your soul doesn't want to have it all together right now. And actually, with this 6 of Cups and Page of Cups here, I'll get into it in a second, but I think your higher self wants to live in a more childlike way and wants to take more time exploring and trying different things and experimenting. And I know that can be scary because I think society pressures us to get everything figured out by a certain age, or like when you're a grown adult, you shouldn't be exploring and testing things out. You should already know what you want to do. You should already be settling down. And I kind of feel like your soul doesn't want to settle down just yet, wants to have a bit more fun trying different things. I get the sense from you guys that you could be overworked with this 10 of Wands here, or you could be unsupported in some way. You could be working hard and not getting the recognition or the appreciation, or just not getting the help that you need. It could also be that you are taking on too many responsibilities, and this could be, for some of you, it could just be like you feel that societal pressure that you need to do it all and you need to be super hardworking. I think for others of you, it might come from a place of people pleasing. Like you just can't say no, and so you end up with 5 million things on your plate. Others of you could be just in a bad situation where you're not supported. And I think your higher self wants you to know that there is a way out. And maybe that's what these adjustments are for, like to get you out of situations where you're not helped or reciprocated or supported, like to get you the support that you need, because we all need help. The 10 of Wands can often indicate someone who struggles with asking for help or just can't get help. And I feel like this is very vague. I'm sorry, but I feel like in some way help is on the way for you guys. And things will get easier. Some of you guys could be parents, because we have a king and a page, which makes me think of parent and child. And then the 6 of Cups is about children as well. And I don't have children, but I can only imagine it's a big responsibility. It's a lot of work, and it can be hard to be a parent and then do all the things that you want to do. But with the right support, I do feel like you can do it all. Like you can do the things that really matter to you. There's a feeling of you might have some aspects that society would deem like you're settling down. Like, for example, you have a family, you have kids, like you bought a home or something. But your soul is saying like, oh no, it's still just the beginning. It's like your soul doesn't ever want to feel fully like, oh, I'm just settled now. I'm just comfortable now. It's like your soul wants to keep having adventures. Your soul wants to keep adventure and spontaneity and playfulness in their life. And I think that's one big piece of advice to align with your best life, is to never feel like, oh, I've done it all, I've learned it all, like I'm settled now, my life is made and it's just gonna be the way it is. To actively look for new adventures and new things to spark your interest, and to stay curious. And always keep that heart of, no matter how old you are, to always keep the heart of like, oh, I'm a young person who's just figuring things out one day at a time. Like to just not settle, I guess. To not get too settled down. And that doesn't mean you won't have security in your life or stability. In fact, I very much think you will. But just to keep that spark of searching for new things. And we might have to get some things off our plate with this 10 of Wands. There's something that is draining our energy. We either need to stop doing it or we need to get support. And like there's no shame in getting that support. Yes. So let's go through these in order now. Yeah, definitely big child energy coming through with all of these cards. So again, some of you could have children, or having children will be a part of your best life. That may be confirmation for some of you. And with motivation clarifying this 6 of Cups, I think this is speaking for some of you about your children being a huge source of motivation in your life. And if you hold them in your heart as motivation, you can go very far and you can do amazing things. But for others of you, like if you don't have children or don't want children, this could also be about your inner child motivating you. So when you go out there and take steps to live the life that you want and take steps to make a happier future for yourself, it's almost like you're looking back at your child self and saying, this one's for you. I got you. I'm gonna make the life that you wanted. So another piece of advice might be, when you're creating your best life, to think about what kind of life child you would have wanted, because I have a feeling that those desires are still there. The things that spark excitement in you, the things that inspire you could be very similar from when you were a child. Like the types of things that you wanted to pursue. Interesting how there's like a rainbow in both of these cards. I kind of feel like they're connected. I definitely think when you're living your best life, you need to be expressing yourself creatively in some way. There's a lot of creative energy here. We have the Page of Cups, we have express. I feel like you need some creative or artistic medium to get your thoughts and feelings out. That's going to be really therapeutic for your soul. It's going to be good for your mental health, I'm hearing as well, to express yourself creatively. Some of you guys might want to do this for a living, or you already do this for a living, but creativity is like a big part of your life, or it will be a big part of your best life. And also when you're living your best life, I think you just open up and express whatever you're feeling without inhibition. You allow yourself, you give yourself permission to feel things in all of your sensitivity. You give yourself permission to cry, no matter how big or small the thing might be, no matter how big or small of a deal others might perceive it to be. You just allow yourself to feel things fully. Your sadness, your joy, your excitement, without worrying, like, am I too much? Am I too sensitive? Your ability to feel things so deeply is beautiful, and the right people will love that about you and will honor that. I see many of you having a spouse or a long-term serious romantic partner in your best life. Some of you guys might already be with this person. They could be a water sign, or they could be the same element as you. So like if you're a fire sign, they're also a fire sign. If you're an air sign, they're also an air sign. I think you guys get it. But yeah, this is definitely someone who not only honors your sensitivity, but has that same sensitivity. And I think that you help this person bring that out of them as well. I think that we're getting rid of some conditioning that being sensitive and emotional is like weak or childish. You know, you can be incredibly put together and mature and still feel things very intensely. And it needs to be okay for you to let that out, to laugh as loud as you want, to cry as hard as you want. That's a very beautiful thing about you, the capacity to feel like that. As an air moon, I'm a little bit jealous. But yeah, I feel like this is representing someone in your life, like a partner, a gentle leader. Very interesting. There's a significant person in your life. They may be in a leadership position. They may be a bit older than you, but they kind of take on that leadership role in their company, in the household. But they're very kind and gentle and compassionate. They don't lead by force. You may embody these traits as well. Oh my gosh, I just realized the assert, and I literally made a comment when it came out. I love assert clarifying the King of Cups for that very reason, because the King of Cups is quite, like I said, gentle and compassionate, but definitely not a pushover. This could represent your significant other, your spouse, could also represent you. So, all in all, it looks like in your best life, there is prioritization on fun, for sure. There's a prioritization on fun, on adventure, on creative expression. I just got this image of someone like traveling the world and being inspired by what they see and being inspired by the people they meet, and either documenting that, and that's like their form of art, you know, documenting through photographs, through videos, through interviews, through blog entries, documenting their experiences of travel. You know, I spoke to the people in this city, I spoke to the people in this village, and like, this is how they do things. Or creating art inspired by what you experience. So, for example, writing a song inspired by these travels that you went on. Interesting. Also, I'm just looking at this person's green fingers, and it made me think of gardening, because, you know, like, you have a green thumb, it means that you're good at taking care of plants. And then I just imagine someone like getting their hands in the dirt and touching grass. So spending time with plants, spending time in nature, or more specifically gardening, could be a part of your best life as well. Perhaps even growing your own food, that could be something that you do in your best life. And in a lot of Six of Cups cards, there's like children giving each other flowers. So yeah, makes me think of gardening. That could be something that you do with your children if you have them, like traveling, hiking, being in nature, gardening, learning where your food comes from, and things like that. Farmers markets, things of that nature. I think we're living an easy life. We're living a soft life. And that doesn't mean you don't work hard, but you're not working hard to prove yourself to anyone, and you're not working hard to just feed the machine, like to make someone else richer, to just feed into capitalistic stuff. Like, you're working hard on things that really matter to you. And I think with all of this Cups energy here, it is so important for you guys to do something for a living that is emotionally fulfilling. When I see Cups court cards, like, you're not the type of person who can just work for a paycheck. And some people can do that, and that's very valid. Just be like, oh yeah, like I have my hobbies, I have my passions, but this is just my job. Like, this is just what pays the bills. It's fine. Like, I go in and do the stuff and I clock out, and then I get to do what I really want with my money. Like, that is very fine way of living as well. But just when I see these Cups cards, I'm like, okay, no, you need some kind of like emotional investment and passion in what you do. Otherwise, I was gonna say otherwise you won't be able to keep doing it, which might be the case for some of you, but I have a feeling that a lot of you have the ability to keep doing things you don't want to do for a very long time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe a bad thing, like perseverant to the point that you can just hold out in situations that you dread. And maybe it's necessary at times. So maybe at times it is a good thing, but I can also see how that would be bad. So I want you guys to know that, like, give yourself permission to get out of the situation that stresses you out and that you dread. And if you don't see a way out right now, we had that 555, adjustments will be made to bring you this life of more freedom, to bring you this life of more adventure and of less stress. That's a very big thing in your best life. I think that as long as we're human, we can't avoid stress, but we can definitely minimize it, and we can definitely have positive stress in our life rather than negative stress. Yeah, and I see family. Like, family is a big part of your best life too. I'm just imagining, like, there's you and there's your partner, your kids, if you have them or want them. Could be companion animals as well. Like your little family. I'm just picturing like a cute little family in a little home, and like you have a nice garden and you do activities together. Like you go to the market on weekends, like just that cute, that dream. Like you're living the dream of having a loving family, a loving home. And there's a stability and predictability of your life, but certainly not boring. There's also spontaneity. So there's the feeling like you have those elements that would make you settled down, so to speak, but we're not really settling down because we're always exploring. We're always venturing. Yeah, so let's look at your advice here. We have the Devil, which is clarified by honor. And we also have, this is a boundary card. You have a lot of boundary cards, actually. These are all boundary, boundary, boundary. Assert your boundaries, express your boundaries, honor your boundaries. That is very important. If you give other people too much power, what other people demand of you, what other people expect of you, what other people want for you, what other people envision for you, if you give that too much power, that is a surefire way to not live your best life, because you're not living for yourself. And I think that that's very important. to respect, to treat with esteem, to make seen, to commit, to align with integrity, to say yes to your desires and needs, to affirm your no's. Respecting your own boundaries is very important. And this is very much easier said than done. I've been on a very long journey learning how to assert my boundaries, and I think I'm getting better at it. And something that has helped me that I feel like saying right now is that I kind of became okay with people not liking me or people being mad at me. And then I'm like, I'm okay to just say what I want to say. I'm like, if you don't like what I have to say, or if you don't like my boundary, that's actually okay. And I feel like I used to be terrified of people not liking my boundary. I'm like, you don't have to like it. It's just how it is, you know? And the people who respect you, they will respect your boundaries. Asserting your boundaries is a great way to just figure out from the get-go who is meant to be in your life and who is not meant to be in your life. And connections shouldn't be forced. Like, you shouldn't force to make connections work if it means being inauthentic to yourself. I also, something that I realized recently that I feel like saying is that learning how to respect your own boundaries and assert your boundaries does not happen overnight. It's not like, oh, I learned how to do this and now I'm gonna perfectly establish my boundaries every time. I still fail. I still fail sometimes. And I catch myself. I'm like, oh shit, I said yes to this thing that I don't really want to say yes to because I felt pressure, because I felt bad, or I didn't want to make someone else feel bad. And in those moments, I'm not hard on myself about it. I'm like, yeah, like, you failed to properly assert your boundaries this time, but that's okay. Like, you'll get it right next time because it's a skill, you know? Of course, in a perfect world, we want to be able to perfectly assert our boundaries every time, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. And as long as we're getting better and better each day, like, that's okay. Give yourself grace as you learn this, because it really is a skill and it's an art. It's not a science. Like, your boundaries change. You might be not okay with something one day and okay with something next month. It depends on your energy levels. It depends on your mood. It depends on your stage of life. They're always shifting. And that is very okay. And again, people who matter, the people who respect you, they will be okay with it shifting. Giving yourself permission, almost like to be, not the devil, that sounds weird, but like to be the villain in someone's story, to be the bad guy in someone's story, to not try to control. That's another thing I noticed recently. Not to talk about myself a lot. I'm just saying these realizations in case they are helpful or in case they resonate. To not be obsessed with controlling how other people see you, because ultimately you can't. You can't control how everyone sees you. My guide said to me recently, you know, there are like hundreds of versions of you that exist, because there is a version of you that exists in everyone's mind, in everyone's story. And if you go around trying to control all of those hundreds of versions of you, you're gonna tire yourself out. You can't, and you don't have to. You don't have to be concerned with that. All of these things I'm saying, very much easier said than done. Definitely. But I think the most important thing is giving yourself grace as you figure it out. Like, I know that I'm not supposed to obsess about what people think. I know that I'm supposed to have boundaries, but it's hard. I'm gonna make mistakes sometimes. I'm gonna fail to set my boundaries sometimes. I'm gonna slip up and catch myself caring what someone thinks of me, and that's okay. Like, I'm a human. I'm not gonna get it perfect every time, but what matters is that I'm trying, and if I get it right most times, then it's gonna make my life a lot better. I'm thinking of that expression like progress. We're striving for progress, not perfection. Same thing when it comes to, you know, breaking bad habits, overcoming negative thoughts, breaking attachments or addictions that we have. You might slip up sometimes with those. You might fall off the wagon sometimes. And I think that if you expect yourself to never slip up, you're gonna just set yourself up to be disappointed, and then you're gonna, you know, spiral. I'm thinking about an example of diet is coming to my mind, and I'm very sorry if this is a triggering subject for some people. Please feel free to skip this part if you don't like to hear things about diet. But like, I'm imagining someone who, like, they're trying to eat healthier, but then like they slip up and eat something unhealthy. If they are allowing themselves that grace, I think it'll be easier to say like, oops, I slipped up this time, but that's okay. Like, I was pretty good for most of the day, and like, I'll be good again tomorrow, and we'll just keep going. Like, it's okay. It's a little slip up. Keep going. Like a performance. You make a mistake when you're performing on stage, you just keep going, right? Because if you start freaking out, then you're going to ruin the whole performance. The show must go on. Kind of a weird analogy, but you know, if someone is putting so much pressure on themselves to be perfect in this diet, then when they like slip up, quote unquote, and eat something unhealthy, like they might spiral and be like, oh, well, I already ruined the day, so I might as well just stop trying, and like or like, I messed up this week, so I'll just stop trying and I'll try again next week. Like, or get really down on yourself and feel like a failure. Like, it's just, you're gonna slip up. We're humans. Then just keep going, you know? Oh, did you see anything? I didn't see anything, and just keep going. Yes. Allow yourself to just mess up and keep going. Yeah. All right. And of course, that can be applied to so many different things. It can be applied to, you know, you're trying to build healthy habits. You're trying to become more productive, but then you had a not productive day. That's okay. That's gonna happen. Allow yourself to have that non-productive day and then be productive tomorrow. There's no need to beat yourself up. Okay, I think you guys get the picture, so I'm gonna move on from this now. Your other piece of advice, death clarified by ancestry, which is very interesting because, you know, death talks about that cycle of like birth, death, rebirth. Definitely you have ancestors from previous, yeah, that's what ancestors are, from previous generations that are on the other side, that have gone through death of the physical human form and now live on the other side. So a piece of advice for you is to connect more to your ancestors because they want to help you. And they actually could very well be your ancestors who are helping to make these adjustments to get you out of situations where you're unsupported or where you're drained. Ooh, this is so interesting. It's like you are this caterpillar and your ancestors are the butterflies. If you're this caterpillar, you're looking at a butterfly and you're like, you're telling me I'm gonna turn into that? That looks painful as hell. Like, it's scary, right? But your ancestors are on the other side of the transformation. It's like they've already done the life thing, right? They've already done the human thing. They've already been through all the painful transitions that you're gonna go through. And so they have the wisdom to help you. And you can communicate to them. Even if they're not physically here anymore, you can communicate to them. And maybe some of you already do. But they're saying like, oh, we've done the human thing, right? So we can help you. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to be human. We can help you through these tough transitions. And as higher beings now, we can pull some strings for you to help your life on Earth. So yeah, this advice is that your ancestors want you to reach out, talk to them, get to know them. That would make them really happy. You know, the same way your grandparent gets really happy, like you take time out of the day to call them, even if you moved away from your hometown and you can't see them, like, oh, I really appreciate that you would take the time to call me. I'm so happy to hear from you because you're my baby. Like, same thing for your ancestors and past on loved ones who are on the other side. Like if you reach out to them, it will just make their day. Well, maybe not day because time is not a thing for them. It will make their existence if you reach out to them. If you're looking for a place to start on how to connect with them, besides the typical like, oh, do a meditation, just learning more about them as much as you can could help you to connect with them. So, you know, asking relatives what they know about your past on loved ones or what they know about your family's history. Maybe there's old photos that you can look at to connect with your ancestors, or things, items, objects that have been passed down from generations. Like holding on to those objects could help you connect. If you're finding it hard to find ties to your ancestors here on Earth, connecting to the culture that they're from, or if you can, visiting the place where they lived could be another way to connect to them. Of course, if you can. But they definitely want to connect to you more. They definitely want to talk to you more, and they definitely want to help you with all of these things. So group number ones, I think those are all the messages I'm getting for you. Oh, I should mention that Capricorn and Scorpio energy could be significant. Maybe those are the signs of people who are on the other side helping you. Those are the signs of my grandparents, Capricorn and Scorpio. Actually, my grandpa's a Sag Capricorn cusp king, and literally it changed on the day that he was born. The sun changed from Sagittarius to Capricorn, and we don't know his birth time, so I'll never know, but I think he's a Capricorn. Actually, I don't know. Anyway, group number ones, these are all the messages we have for you. So I'm gonna end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can check out my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can check out my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these, except you get to choose the topic. You can check out my music channel, which includes the song that was at the start of this video. That is an original song. You can check out my vlog channel, which is KINO Vlogs, and you can check out my merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of these videos, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. I feel so good. Like, I don't want this group to end. Your energy is so nice. I feel good. I hope you guys feel good too. And thank you for giving me this positive energy. Sending lots of love to you, to your ancestors, your spirit guides, your children, if you have them, or your spirit children, if they are not here yet, or your companion animals, wherever they may be, here or on the other side. I'm sending love to all of you, to your King of Cups, your partner, just all of you, mwah. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number twos. So if you guys chose the Rainbow Aura Quartz, I don't know the difference between Rainbow Aura and Angel Aura, or if it's the same thing. But anyway, if you chose this beautiful rainbow boy, this is going to be a reading. We're gonna start off with the tarot. And I'm gonna be pulling 6 cards for you guys. So 3 cards will focus on what your life is like when you're living your best life. And then 2 cards will focus on your advice on how to align with this life. And then the bottom of the deck card is going to represent what your higher self really wants you to know right now. So let's get started for group number 2. And then I'll be pulling like 1 clarifying oracle card for each tarot card. Okay, so when group number 2 is living their best life, what does that look like for them? What does group number 2's best life look like? We have the Chariot. We have the King of Swords. And the Seven of Cups. I like that. We have 2 7s. Okay, and then what is group number 2's advice for aligning with this life? The Knight of Swords. And the Ace of Wands. And then at the bottom of the deck, wow, for what your higher self wants you to know right now, we have the 10 of Cups. Love it. So now let's pull our clarifying oracle cards. Isn't this deck gorgeous, by the way? I love it so much. Okay, so starting off with the Chariot. Why is the Chariot here? What does it represent in this spread? Seeker. Use this card to represent you. So the Chariot is representing you, who you are, what you may be thinking and feeling, and how you are positioned in a situation or relationship right now. Why is the King of Swords here? What is the King of Swords representing? Honor. To respect, to treat with esteem, to make seen, to commit, to align with integrity, to say yes to your desires and needs, to affirm your no's. Oh, this came up for group number 1 as well. And why is the 7 of Cups here? Align. To connect deeply, to return to proper course, to live in your truths. I don't know what it is because there's so many cards in these decks, but the same cards come out. Like this came out a couple times in the last video we did. Okay, why is the Knight of Swords here? What is the Knight of Swords referring to? Attract. To welcome and become available, to be ready, to hold and broadcast an intention. Ooh. And why is the Ace of Wands here? Forgive. To neutralize guilt, to make peace, to practice compassion, to let go, to set yourself free. And finally, why is the 10 of Cups here? What is the 10 of Cups referring to? I mean, I know what the 10 of Cups is referring to, but let's get a clarifier. Expression. This one is coming out quite a bit as well. Creative and self-expression. The way you choose to convey, consciously or unconsciously, an idea, an opinion, or emotion. Okay, I love this energy. I'm gonna start off with this, actually, what your higher self wants you most to know. And we have the 10 of Cups, which is so beautiful. If you guys are familiar with tarot, you will know that this is a very, very happy card. It represents total emotional fulfillment, having all of your heart's desires and just being over the moon and so full of bliss. It makes me think of a happily ever after. It makes you think of all of your wildest dreams coming true. It's a really beautiful card to come out. I think that this group, you have quite a good idea of what your best life looks like already. So this reading is probably going to be mostly confirmation for you, which was kind of my intention, to let you guys know like that you're on the right path. And I can say with a lot of confidence, with this 10 of Cups here, you are completely on the right path to living your best life. I think you know what it is. I think you know what will make you happiest in this life because you feel it deep in your soul. And maybe some of you guys need to be reminded of that. that you can trust what your heart desires, because your heart is very smart. Your heart knows exactly what it needs and exactly what will make you happiest. So trust the things that your heart is telling you. That's very, very important. It will help you make the right decisions. It will guide you in this life. Your heart is a very good compass. And not only, I think, does this group need to know that your heart's an accurate compass, but that you're worthy of all the things your heart is longing for. Like, they're literally out there waiting for you to find them. You guys are very much on the right path to living your best life. I think some of you guys could be creatives with this creative and self-expression, but I think that this is a piece of advice from your higher self to be loud and unapologetic and wholehearted in the expression of your joy. There's a few reasons one might be reluctant to express their joy. For some, it's maybe the fear of getting their hopes up, allowing yourself to be too happy too soon, but maybe this thing is going to be taken away from me. For others, it could be, I feel guilty for being happy and for having all these good things come to me. Maybe we unconsciously feel guilt because there's other people who are struggling, or we think that people are going to envy us, or people are going to criticize us for, I don't know, like you're flexing on them. That's a weird way to say it, but you might worry that other people judge you for like, oh, look how amazing my life is. But I think your higher self wants you to unapologetically express how happy you are and how grateful you are. And it may sound kind of harsh, but if someone perceives you just existing and being carefree and happy and loving life, and they perceive that as you showing off, or they perceive that as you rubbing it in their face with finger quotes, that is kind of a personal issue on their part, and it would be a shame if you let that stop you from expressing your joy, because that's a very beautiful thing. And actually, you should know that many people around you will find it very beautiful and inspiring to just see you thriving and living your best life. Like, don't hide that away from people, because you living your best life is incredibly inspiring, and it lets a lot of people know that they can live their best life too. I definitely think this group is like a leading example. You're a success story. You're an example for many people. I do see you in some kind of leader position, which could mean many things. That could mean that you are like a manager of a company and you're leading employees. It could mean that you are a public figure of some sorts and you have followers, like you have people who admire you, who look up to you. You're leading a group of people. You could be like a thought leader. I don't necessarily know what that means, but I think this is you, this King of Swords, and honor clarifying this means that people honor you and they respect your ideas and your opinions, and they see that there's a lot of value in your insights. You're very insightful, you're very wise, and you will share this wisdom with others. You are an example for others. That's coming through quite strongly. And seeing you so happy makes a lot of other people happy. It's infectious. Yeah, that's the message from your higher self. Be unapologetic in expressing your joy. I love that. And every day, like, look for things to be grateful for. It might sound kind of like we say that all the time. It's nothing special, but the act itself is very special. I find when I take the time, even just like a minute, to think about things that I'm grateful for, and it can be the most, like the simple things that we take for granted. Like, I'm grateful that I have hands. I'm grateful that I have eyes. When I really sit there and think about how awesome that is, it really fills up my heart. It really makes me happy and it makes me excited. So maybe you guys already do this, like you practice gratitude and find things to be happy about. but keep going, keep doing it, and maybe start doing that if you're not doing it already. I've heard that our brains, human brains, have a negativity bias, which seems true based on personal experience. Like, our brain likes to look for things that are wrong, likes to look out for threats. So we kind of have a bias to look out for negative things. And, you know, sometimes we have to kind of actively train ourselves to look for the positive, but it is a very worthwhile practice. And the more you look for something, the more you'll see it everywhere. The more you look for things to be grateful for, the more you will see them everywhere. Yeah, keep being you and keep smiling is a message from your soul. A fish, specifically a red fish or a goldfish, could be an important spirit animal for you guys. I'm thinking of a betta fish. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Betta? I had one when I was a kid, and it was actually red. And I wanted to name it Sunburn, but then my grandma said, why don't you call it Sunbeam? That's a nicer name. And I was like, okay. But Sunburn would have been a very fine name for a red fish. Anyway, red or goldfish could be an important sign for you guys. And I'm actually hearing, if you see this fish, it means that something lucky is about to happen for you. Like, you are in for good luck. You're in for a little treat. Anyway, so let's get into all of these cards over here. We're gonna see what your best life looks like, which we spoke about it a little bit. Definitely, I see success for you guys. Success is, of course, subjective. Everyone has their own definition of success, but I'm kind of seeing it in the conventional way. Like, you have a lot of achievements under your belt in your career, and you're well known, and you're, you know, high up in your position, and you're wealthy. Like, I'm seeing that kind of very conventional success for you. Certainly you can have other kinds of success, like other definitions that are important to you, but I want to confirm to you guys that that sort of conventional, like professional, financial, status, that kind of success is definitely here. But I think that you, I'm hearing, so you guys could have Cancer placements. There's Cancer here, and then this is air in general, but I'm specifically feeling like some kind of Aquarius energy, because I just heard that the way you became successful is like whatever everybody else was doing to be successful, you did the opposite. Like, because I'm just thinking about that Aquarius, like rebellion kind of vibe. Like, if you tell me what to do, I'm going to do the complete opposite type thing. So I don't know if you can imagine, there's a rule book for how to become successful. And they're like, you must never do this. If you do this, you will not become successful. Then you do exactly that, and that makes you successful. I think that this is a group that will be very rewarded for going against the grain. So advice that I would give you guys, like in your pursuits, I guess I wouldn't say like go out of your way to do things differently if it doesn't come naturally, but never let the fear of being different or unconventional stop you from trying something. Because you just may be the trailblazer who makes it a thing. You know, I don't know, nobody else is doing it this way, so maybe it's just not the recipe for success. But I think if you take the road less traveled, if you kind of go off the beaten path and do the opposite of what everyone else is doing, it could bring you great success. I'm hearing that you will be someone who is talked about for a long time. Interesting. Like, even after you, for example, if one day you step down from your profession, people will still talk about your impact. You will be one of the greats, like that is talked about for a long time. I think that people who come after you in your profession will emulate you in many ways. You're kind of like creating a new blueprint for the field that you are in. And even if you're not like a textbook creative, I do think that you're bringing a lot of creativity into the work that you do. You're looking for innovative ways to do things. I think what would suit you guys into, like, I feel like most of you in this group like know what your ideal profession is and like are actively pursuing it. But for those of you who maybe have less of an idea right now, I do think that you would do well in a leader role, because we have a king here. And then I feel like this is you. You're like this bird leading the horse mermaids. I think that you will serve very wide demographics of people. So like, for example, if you were an author, what I'm seeing is less so like, oh, I write novels for teenage girls, or like I write novels for senior men or whatever. It's like everyone reads your books. Young people, old people, men, women, everyone. It just appeals to a very diverse, like people from all cultures. Your work might be translated into different languages. So, you know, in the example of writing books, your book might get translated into many languages, so people from all over the world can read it. Or like if you gave a TED Talk, for an example, then there will be a bunch of like subtitles, a bunch of subtitles of different languages, so that more and more people can benefit from what you are saying. You might, like, it has something to do with expression and communications as well. So you may write books, you might give lectures. Actually, I definitely think you're going to do that. And you could be any profession, like you could be a doctor, but then you have a very innovative way of going about your practice, or maybe you make an amazing discovery in like the field that you specialize in, and then you give TED Talks about it. Whatever your job is, it's like you are asked to speak about the work that you do for a large number of people. You could also be a content creator. And again, that's like for any job. You could be a restaurant owner. You could be a real estate agent. And actually being the owner of some kind of establishment, like owning a restaurant, owning a hotel, which that sounds so big, but being an owner of something like that could also be a profession that suits you. And then you'll make, I don't know, like you'll make videos on YouTube answering frequently asked questions, or like, this is what a day in my life looks like as a insert profession here. There's something like, you're not only doing what you're doing, you're also, what is the word? Broadcasting about it. Because people want to know about what you do. And I think people are just so fascinated with how your mind works. There's something odd about the way you think and the way you see the world and the way you solve problems. And I mean that in the best way possible. There's something a little bit odd about your brain and like how it's wired. It's like you just see the world a bit differently. And so because of that, you can see solutions where others might not. You can see the opportunity for a new invention where others might not. Very interesting. You guys are very intelligent. Like this King of Swords, super intelligent. And then the 2 sevens are making me think of the 7th chakra. So one of the reasons you're so intelligent is because you are tapped into divine wisdom. Even this crown on the King of Swords head, you're open to those downloads, to those ideas that you receive from the divine. So having a strong connection with the divine is also a very big part of your best life. So yeah, like some kind of writer, speaker, communicator, an owner of a business, especially like, for some reason I'm thinking like restaurants, hotel, and like real estate, hospitality, something like that. I don't know. Like there's a lady, I don't even know her name, but she like founded a hotel, and it's like a really big hotel chain in Japan, or maybe in other places. And like this lady's like famous. I can see her face in my mind, but I forget her name. Anyway, yeah. So pretty influential person that we have here, our group number 2s. That's awesome. Another thing that's going to be kind of weird about you guys. So one is that you do kind of what is the opposite of common sense for a lot of people, and then it works. And also that yeah, I guess this kind of ties into it, but you go with your gut feelings even when, for example, even when the evidence states otherwise, even when the statistics say something different, you're like, I get it, I see the numbers, I get the facts, but I have a gut feeling that we should do this. And everyone's like, are you crazy? But if you go with those gut feelings, you will be rewarded. I'm getting like Uranus energy, which is also Aquarian, but Uranus just gets these weird strokes of genius that just like beam down like lightning and they come out of nowhere and it's like erratic. So I feel like you guys might receive a lot of downloads, or you might start to receive more and more as you move down your path. But yeah, random downloads coming in, definitely pay attention to those. They're going to be very significant. Ace of Wands is also a card that makes me think of downloads. And this definitely does. It's literally like coming into your head. You might feel pressure or even some pain in your head when you're channeling, just because it's like, it's a lot of energy to move through our little meat sack. It can be overwhelming. And the Seven of Cups means that there's a lot of higher beings who would like to work with you. Maybe you have identified some and actively work with some higher beings, but there's a few more that you don't know yet and who will be introducing themselves to you. So I see you guys like actively working and actively building with higher beings or more advanced beings who don't necessarily have a physical form, but who are with you to help the advancement of Earth. Ooh, sounds very fancy, very important. It's important work that you're doing. So yeah, going with your gut feeling, going with how you feel, you will shock people in that way with how you find success in doing that. I do think that you guys will thrive in a fast-paced job, or in a job where there is a lot of variety, or both. You could move around quite a bit for your job, especially, you know, like I'm going to give a talk in this city and in this city and this city. Your job could involve touring, or you do a lot of stuff on location. I don't really see you fixed in one place. You may have a fixed base, but it's like you're popping out for meetings and to meet with this client and to give this talk and to meet with these important people. It's like very dynamic, fast-paced, variety type of thing that I see you guys doing. With this Seven of Cups, clarified by align, to connect deeply, to return to proper course, to live in your truths. You know, sometimes I see, well, because I think this is just what the Seven of Cups traditionally means. Sometimes it can be this thing where it's like too many options, overwhelming. We need to clear away the clutter. We need to get clarity and make a decision. This could be advice for some of you who are still trying to figure out what exactly it is that you want to do in life. Process of elimination might be an easy way. Like, if you don't know what you want to do, think about what you don't want to do. Like, I know for sure that I don't want to do this. And when you figure out what you don't want, then by natural consequence, if that's the right way to say it, you will know what you do want. So if you're like, I just know that I don't want to work a 9 to 5, okay, well that means I do want a flexible schedule, or I do want to work these hours. So if you're having a hard time figuring out what you do want, asking yourself what you don't want and then doing the opposite could be very helpful, or just through the process of elimination, getting rid of everything you don't want until what you do want is left. And that might take some time and some trial and error, but such is life. Another thing that I see sometimes with the Seven of Cups is like, if you are considering which path to choose professionally, creatively, whatever it might be, educationally, just do a lot of research, because the sneaky thing with the Seven of Cups is it's like this, all that glitters is not gold. And sometimes things look really bright and shiny on the outside, but then when you look deeper into it, you're like, oh, never mind. So For example, maybe you're like, I really want to be a news anchor. But then you look into the job and you're like, oh wait, I have to do that? I have to do that? Oh, never mind. That doesn't sound like my kind of thing. Like, I don't want, that's too much effort. So you might like idolize a certain job or a certain project or something. But then when you look deeper into it, you're like, never mind. So this is kind of about like whittling away what you don't want so you can align with what you really do want. But the first thing that I was going to say is I think that each of these cups can represent a facet of you. I think that you guys are a very multifaceted being. Like you have that sharp business mind, but you also have that flowy creative mind, and you're spiritual and you're practical, and maybe some of you guys are even like multicultural. So you have a lot of different aspects of your identity, and maybe some of those aspects contradict each other, which is fine because a lot of humans, we're just walking contradictions. We have a lot of like aspects of our personality and the way we think that are seemingly opposite, because there are so many personalities that exist within us. And I'm thinking of, it's funny, I was doing a reading a while ago, and like, I think some court cards were appearing, and I'm like, oh, this could be you, it could also be someone else. And then someone commented, like, they find it amusing because they're like, a DID system, I think is the right word. And they're like, I know when I'm watching the readings that it's like my personalities, but most people aren't aware of that kind of thing. So I'm just kind of like sitting there laughing to myself like, yep, that's me. So I don't know how many people resonate with that. It seems like very specific and not so common, but all of us have several personalities inside of us. And I think that this is like connecting with each and every aspect of your personality, and you don't really have to choose one. You know, different personalities might come out at different times. When you're with certain people, or when you are speaking a different language, a different personality might come out. And sometimes you might wonder which one is the real me, and the answer is all of them. All of them. You might identify with more than one culture. You might identify with more than one gender. Like, you are multifaceted. You're not like a, what is it called? I don't know what the word is that I'm thinking of, but one-dimensional. There we go. You're not a one-dimensional being, so you shouldn't try to be one. Like, all of the different yous are the real you, and you should let all of them come out. Maybe you guys will have more than one profession. And there's a feeling like things about other languages is coming up quite a bit. I don't know if you guys are like bilingual or trilingual, or if you are working towards that, but there's a feeling of you working in different languages. Like you might have one job where you speak in English and one job where you speak in Spanish or something like that, for like different audiences, and you get to bring out different parts of your personality for different things. And I think there's advice to enjoy the multifacetedness of you. You don't have to just pick one. Like, let yourself be everything. Yeah. The format of this reading kind of, so that happens sometimes. I'm like giving advice over here and talking about what you're doing over here. That's okay. My readings very seldom stay in the, so this is representing this and this is representing this. They kind of go everywhere, but I like it. Okay, so this is your advice originally. We have the Knight of Swords and we have Attract, to welcome and become available, to be ready, to hold and broadcast an intention. Honestly, like, just open up. Open up and say yes to what the universe has in store for you. Make yourself ready, make yourself available. It's interesting, broadcast an intention. I know sometimes we give advice to like be quiet about the things you're trying to manifest, but for this group in your particular situation, I actually see a piece of advice to speak up. It's this idea of, that's not exactly, I was gonna say like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, I think is the expression. Like if the one who's making noise, the one who's making their desires known will have those desires met. Because people can't read your mind. You might be able to read their mind, a little psychic group, but people can't read your mind of what you want. So promote yourself, broadcast what you want. Tell as many people as possible about what you're trying to do, because even if they can't directly support you or collaborate with you, they might know someone who does. They, you know, if you're writing a book, they might have a cousin who works for a publishing, you know, but if you don't talk about it, that might never come up in the conversation. You guys might have a tendency to like downplay the things that you're doing. Or it might be like you're afraid of you're afraid of like bringing in negative intention if you openly speak about what you're trying to do. You're stronger than that though. Like I think you guys are protected by higher beings. You cannot be touched. Your mission is divine. It's not going to be messed with. And the more vocal you are about your passions and what you're aspiring to do, more people can help you because they know what you're all about. Really become that. Build the brand of what you're trying to be. Like be that person. Yeah. Communication is very important. And yeah, make yourself available. Like let people know if you're looking for work, if you're looking for collaborators, like let people know that you're available because they won't know if you don't broadcast it. This could also be like some of you guys could be promoting yourselves on, I don't know, on social media, on TV, on the radio. If you're thinking about making an investment to have your advertisements placed somewhere, this might be a sign to go for it. Or for free, you could put up flyers somewhere. I remember I went to this show with my friend, and when I got home, there was a clothespin like on the back of my clothes, and I looked at it and there was this guy's Instagram handle, like he was a musician. And I thought it was so funny because like I didn't notice at any point in the night someone putting a clothespin on me. And then I got home and I'm like, what the heck is this? And because it was so funny to me, I actually did look him up and check him out. So, you know, creative and honestly kind of ballsy, kind of bold ways to promote yourself. And, you know, clothespin probably doesn't cost that much money, but I would sooner check out this guy because he did this funny way of promoting himself than if I just, you know, saw his flyer somewhere, or if I saw an ad on Instagram. I'm just like, keep scrolling. You know, like these kind of humorous or innovative ways to grab people's attention could be a great way to promote your stuff. And I don't know, even if you're just going to job interviews, like put something funny in the cover letter, like do something original. Yeah, like you're breaking the mold, you know. There's especially in Japan, like we're learning about this at school, there's a very, very like set in stone format for resumes and business emails and business letters, like very set in stone. So in that case, it's like, don't do the set in stone way. Oh my gosh, it's such a shock. But like, just go against the format. Even if like all the websites are like, this is how you write a resume. Like, this is how you make a eye-catching ad. Like, just do something completely different and you will be rewarded. And then next we have the Ace of Wands and forgive, to neutralize guilt, to make peace, to practice compassion, to let go, to set yourself free. I'm also noticing you have a lot of expansion cards. Like there's little keywords at the bottom of the cards. Half of yours are expansion cards. So this is definitely a time of expansion for you. We have the Ace of Wands. Ace is a new beginning. So we have forgive and a new beginning. There's a feeling of starting over, maybe we're giving something a second chance. And this wand, it's a little broken, right? There's shards coming off. It's like we're giving something a chance even though it's not perfect. I'm actually getting emotional when I read this energy. I have the feeling of crying. I'm not gonna cry. Don't worry, I'm okay. But I have the feeling of crying. Like a Claire crying. Is that a psychic ability? I have Claire crying. Anyway. Giving something a second chance, recognizing that it is not beyond repair, it can be fixed, and it's worthy of giving another shot. This may be a strange analogy, but like, even this cloud, this is actually broken. I bought this in Canada, and then I like went outside and I had it in a bag with a bunch of other stuff, and it was like, the weather was so weird. Like, it would be in the negatives and really freezing, and then the snow would melt and then it would freeze again. So it became really like icy outside. And I slipped on the ice and I fell, and I used the bag to break my fall, and then this cloud broke. You can't really tell though. I mean, you can kind of tell on this side, but I was like, oh, my cloud. And so I could have just been like, oh, that sucks, like throw it out and buy a new one. I mean, I would never do that to a crystal, oh my goodness, but I could have. But it was not beyond repair. It's fixed up now and it's good as new. So something in your life can be fixed. Something in your life can be fixed. There's been a lot of messages about like creativity and the projects you're working on. So it could very well be about that. Could also be a relationship. When you're living your best life, there's someone you've reconciled with. Maybe we need to let someone know that we are available to them. Maybe we need to let someone know that the door is open for them. Because this, to broadcast an intention, to become available. Maybe someone wants to reach out to us, but they don't know that we're open to that. Maybe they think we don't want to hear from them. So we have to make it known that we're willing to give things another chance. Maybe we were working on something, but then it became overwhelming and we gave up. And we're like, I'm just going to scrap this. Oop, there's a hair on the table. Maybe we were, for example, maybe we were writing a book and then we're like, oh man, like I just can't bring this plot together. Like, I feel like the story isn't making sense. I feel like it's not good. And then we just get too overwhelmed and just give up on it. We're like, oh, this is beyond repair. But we come back around to it later with a fresh pair of eyes and we're like, no, this story can be fixed. Like, this plot line can be redeemed. We just gotta change this and, something can be fixed. And maybe forgiveness needs to happen in order for things to be fixed. If you feel like you need forgiveness from someone, I want to tell you that it's definitely in their heart to forgive you. And you may need to forgive yourself, like forgive yourself for giving up at one point. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. Especially if it felt like a betrayal to yourself to give up on something, because it's like you really loved it and you really wanted it, but for whatever reason, you couldn't carry on. And that's okay. Sometimes things get too much for us and we can give up on things even if we love them. Whether it's a person, a project, it doesn't matter. It could be both. This could be about multiple things in your life, but for whatever reason you set it down or walked away in the past, you just did what you needed to at the time, or what you knew how to do. And you deserve another chance. This person or thing deserves another chance. So let's give it a fresh new start. yeah, something you're reconciling with something in your life, and that's a part of you living your best life. Because I feel like you don't need, finger quote, anyone, but I do. I feel like you need this person in your life, or you need this thing in your life for your little fishy heart to be truly happy. And your heart knows that. So we're gonna stop denying our heart of what it knows. Yeah, it knows better than us. I mean, it is us, but you know what I mean. So, group number 2. So those are all the messages I have for you guys. So I'm gonna end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. This group had a really cool energy. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you are watching this, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these ones, except you get to choose the topic for them. You can check out my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. You can check out my vlog channel, which is KINO Vlogs, and you can check out my merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting this channel. It truly means a lot to me. My lovely, brilliant, gifted group number 2s, I'm so excited for what you will do, and perhaps I will be a follower of your work. Maybe I already am. I don't know who you are. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you once again, and I'm sending lots of love to you, your spirit guides, the higher beings who are working with you. Hello, those that you know already and those who you don't. Thank you for being here. Thank you to your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. I just saw 4545. Could be a significant number. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose the Labradorite, this is going to be a reading. We're going to start off with the tarot, and I'm going to pull 6 cards. This is my idea. Ooh, that looks nice. This is my idea that I have for the reading. It might not exactly go this way, as it didn't for the other groups, but my plan was to pull 3 cards to represent what your best life is going to look like, and then 2 cards to represent advice for you to align with this life, and then we'll also look at the bottom of the deck energy as a message from your higher self. Okay, my group number 3s. What does group number 3's best life look like? So coming out together, we have the Queen of Wands and the Hermit. And then we have the Six of Swords. And then we have the World. Ooh, nice. Okay, so let's get a couple cards for advice, how you can align with this life. Ooh, the Empress. Got some powerful energy going on here. And wow, the Empress and the High Priestess. And then at the bottom of the deck, oh, we have the Three of Cups, and that's so cute. Okay, so now we're gonna pull clarifying oracle cards for each of these energies. so starting with the Queen of Wands and the Hermit energy, what does this mean, or what is this referring to for group number 3? What is the Queen of Wands with the Hermit trying to tell us? Explore. To explore, to learn, and to expand your horizons, to absorb and download new information, to venture into new terrain, to brainstorm and gather ideas. Okay, and why is the Six of Swords here? What is the Six of Swords referring to? What is it trying to tell us? Worldview. Your point of view, your perspective, your opinions, and your attitude. You can also dive deeper and use this card to explore your core values, ingrained beliefs, and childhood conditionings. And the World, we have victory. Nice. What validates you, affirms you, and establishes you? What makes you a winner? How do you become victorious? And what about the Empress? Why is the Empress here? Accept. To acknowledge, to recognize, to register as true, to validate, to affirm, to own. And for the High Priestess, we have purge, to destroy, to cleanse, to renew, to eradicate and transform. Oh, and then I almost started shuffling, but this is bottom of the deck energy. Wow, our focus areas, connection, relationship, and love, which is very sweet because we have these 3 little, are they axolotls maybe? These 3 little creatures coming together, and then they're clarified by connection and relationship and love. So a big theme for you guys in living your best life, it has a lot to do with the people you surround yourself with, all types of connections, but the 3 of Cups specifically makes me think of friendship. So this connection, relationship, love, it is more so speaking about friendship. Who you keep around you as friends is very, very important. And actually, right off the bat, if I were to give this group advice for how you can live your best life, take stock of your friends and acquaintances and ask yourself if this friendship is serving both of you or all of you, if it's a friend group. Ask yourself if you, this is kind of weird, but it's like if you would trade places with that friend or like be proud to be that friend. And I don't think it's so much like, would I want this friend's job or something like that, but just, would I be proud to like live my life in this way and to carry myself this way? Basically, like, am I proud to have this friendship? Do I feel like this friendship makes me a better person? Do I feel like this friendship lifts me up? Do I feel like this friendship is adding value to my life? Maybe that's a less complicated way to put it. It could also be for people like romantic interests. But I feel like that's more so the case for those of you who are like single, maybe dating around, maybe engaging in casual relationships. I think we want to be just more mindful of who we let around, more cautious, more selective. If you are already in this energy, I think your higher self is saying that this is a very, very good thing that you're doing to align with your best self and align with your best life. But yeah, there's a focus on friendships. There's a focus on evaluating or re-evaluating the friendships in our life. And something you need to know is that true friends will always celebrate your wins with you. They might even celebrate harder than you and celebrate your victories. And they will always lift you up and want to see you doing the best. So that would also be something to ask yourself, like, Do I feel that this friend truly wants the best for me? Do I feel like this friend is proud of me? Do I feel like this friend wants to see me succeed? These are the types of friends that your higher self is attracting right now and wants for you right now. So some of you guys may do this evaluation and say, yeah, like I have these awesome friends in my life, and that is awesome. If not, I feel that these friends are coming, because this is about what your best life looks like. So for those of you who haven't found your tribe yet, I definitely think that's something that is coming. I see you guys in a group of friends who are all doing diverse things with their life, but who are all successful and fulfilled in their own ways. I see you in a group of friends where there's never feelings of competition or comparison, just unconditional love and support. Like, that's the Empress, that's unconditional love. There's a lot of really strong, powerful, divine feminine energy here. So this could be a situation of like, you know, a female group of friends, or like women supporting other women. I do know that a lot of my viewers are women, but you certainly don't have to be. It just, gender doesn't really matter here. It's more so that like strong, powerful, supportive group of friends where we don't compare our journeys to each other. We just nurture and support each and every one of our individual journeys. And whenever we get together, there's always something to celebrate because we're all doing amazing things. And even if we can't see each other for a while, when we do, it's like no time has passed and we're so excited to catch up and like, what are you working on now? I want to see it. What have you been doing these days? It's like, I'm just so excited to be a part of your life and cheer you on. That's the type of friendships that you currently have, or that you are currently manifesting into your life. Yeah, it's a lot of like divine feminine energy. We have the Empress, we have the High Priestess, we have the Queen of Wands, like beautiful. I think a big part of you living the best life possible for you has to do with stepping into your divine feminine energy and embracing your feminine energy. Again, regardless of your gender. I think in many societies, we tend to suppress or shame feminine energy and feminine things. Like they're seen as weak or they're seen as unimportant. And so even if we are women, for example, we will suppress our own feminine energy. And a big part of you being able to live your best life has to do with embracing your feminine side. We have this message of purge, to destroy, to cleanse, to renew, to eradicate and transform. You guys may be working through some judgments of yourself that don't come from you, but that have been internalized from society or from the narratives that you heard, you know, just growing up and being a human in the world. You hear things like, oh, these traits are not desirable. These traits are weak. These traits are annoying, or they're too much. And as we hear these words around us, even if they're not directly being spoken to us, we're like, oh, I guess I should check myself. I guess I should suppress this part of myself. And I should, you know, judge other people who show these traits so that I can prove to the world that I'm not like that. And we do these things to be accepted. And it's not, our desire to be accepted is not inherently bad, but it can lead us to harmful behaviors. So there, and of course, just take this if it resonates. If it doesn't, you can ignore me. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging anyone, but there may be a need to look within and see, in what ways am I like denying aspects of myself, suppressing parts of myself, judging parts of myself, and where does that come from? Because I really don't think it comes from you. I think it comes from like societal conditioning. Like we're taught to be ashamed of certain aspects of ourselves. I think especially, I mean, I've never been anything other than a woman, at least that I remember, at least in this lifetime. So I can't speak for other genders, but I feel like especially as women, this can happen to us, where literally everything that you can think of, we can be shamed for. And so, of course, if we hear that kind of narrative our whole life, we may start doing it to ourselves, judging and shaming ourselves. That's what we were taught to do. So, regardless of your gender, there is a feminine energy, I think, that wants to come out, that wants to be embraced, that wants to unapologetically shine. That is a big piece of advice for living your best life. What parts of me am I hiding away? What parts of me am I ashamed of? What am I not expressing and why? Yeah, and the High Priestess, it's about going deep and looking at what is going on behind the scenes. Very interesting that this High Priestess is looking over at the Three of Cups. So you might find, as you look for the reasons of why you feel shame around certain aspects of yourself, it may have to do with things that your friends say or the people around you say. And that's why it's important to reevaluate, because the group that you're in can so much shape how you think and even how you see yourself. I, at one time, was like surrounded by people who thought I was an airhead and who thought I was dumb, when really it's just that, oh man, I'm getting kind of emotional talking about that, when really it's just that I was thinking all the time, you know? I was anxious. When you're anxious and overthinking, you do become pretty like spacey. It's hard to pay attention. It's hard to focus and be in the present. And I guess the people around me just like didn't get it. And they would always like crack jokes about how like dumb I am. Like I'm an airhead, I'm a space cadet or whatever. And I actually started to believe that about myself. And I would make self-deprecating jokes about it. Because then like, oh, like, at least I'm admitting it, and then they'll laugh at my joke, and then I'll be accepted by them. This is when I was much younger, you know, still finding my way in the world. But that was a thing that happened. So, yeah. Surround yourself with people who, not yes people, who shine sunshine and rainbows up your butt. People who will call you out and hold you accountable, but people who think you're freaking amazing as you are. Surround yourself with that kind of people. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there who would love to be around your energy, who would truly see your light and see how amazing you are. They are out there. Your tribe is out there. And when you're living your best life, you are with this tribe and you are shining. Because you are supported, you can do anything. You support yourself and your community supports you. You can do anything. Aw, I'm smiling now. Okay, so you see, I'm kind of going all over. Another thing I see for your best life, there's definitely relocation or travel that is very significant, because we have these two cards that are indicative of travel. We have the World, which is pretty self-explanatory. So when you're living your best life, you could travel the world a lot, go on a lot of overseas trips for pleasure, for business, I don't know. Or you could actually be relocating to somewhere pretty far away, like to another continent, another country. With the Six of Swords, there's a feeling of moving away from some kind of BS. Like we're moving on, we're moving to something better. So I think this will especially ring true for those of you who are not happy with your current living situation. Whether that's like you don't like the household that you're living in, maybe you don't like the people that you live with, it's not an ideal situation, or maybe you don't really like the town that you live in. Like for example, you live in a big city and you hate big cities, or it's too crowded, or you don't really vibe with the culture, even if it's technically your own culture. You just don't really get it. For those of you who feel like you don't belong where you live, where you are, I definitely see that that's going to change. Because again, the Six of Swords, like you're moving away from some crappy situation, or at least that you subjectively feel is crappy. You're moving away from turbulence, moving away from the chaos of it all. Like you're moving somewhere more peaceful, or just moving somewhere that is more aligned with you. Perhaps moving somewhere where there's more opportunities available to you. Moving somewhere where you're less isolated, where there's more people to meet, more people to network with, to collaborate with, more work opportunities. It's a relocation that allows you to level up and to make yourself more seen, or more like available and visible to the opportunities that are trying to find you. Maybe we're moving close to our tribe, or moving in with our tribe. Because I have seen an interpretation of Six of Swords as like moving in together. So you could be like roommates with your soul family, which would be super fun. Let's look at some of these clarifiers. So I'm like confused because I'm going all over the place. We also have explore and worldview. So yeah, I would be really shocked if your future and your best life doesn't involve relocation, or at least you traveling to a lot of different places. I see that environment's really important for everyone, but I think environment is so important for this group. And when you are in a different social circle, or when you are in a different physical environment, or when you are in a different culture, like your mental health is going to thrive, because you just feel like I belong here. This is where I can really shine. This is where people get me. This is where I feel supported. This is where like we have the same vision. Like you get me, you feel me. I'm on the same wavelength with these people in this place. Yeah, I see a significant improvement in mental health for this group, which is awesome. And I see a really, really big boost in your confidence. With this Queen of Wands, I see a big boost in your confidence. Really embracing who you are. Some of you guys might be like hardcore ambiverts, like sometimes you're really introverted, sometimes you're really extroverted. I think that's what that means. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But I do feel like this group has a mix of introverted energy and extroverted energy. Maybe it depends just like who you're with, or depends on your mood. And I feel like honoring that is another way that you will live your best life. So when you are feeling more introverted, like you will honor that, you will respect that. You won't force yourself to be super like social or super out there. I see you, yeah, it's like you're honoring the cues of your body or of your mind, and not forcing yourself to do things that you're not comfortable doing. I think you're in the process of becoming a lot better at listening to your body and listening to what you really want to do. And yeah, sometimes like if we've gone for so long suppressing what we really want, sometimes it's hard to even know, like, what do I want? I don't know if this is a perfect example, but an example that just came to my mind is like when someone asks you, where do you want to go to eat? And there actually is somewhere that you very much want to go to eat, but instead you're just like, oh, whatever, like we can go anywhere. And I don't know what it is, like you don't want to assert what you want, or you don't want to be seen as like bossy, or you don't want to be too forward. I don't know what it is. But, or maybe you really don't realize that that's where you want to go, but there's a feeling of you're becoming in touch with yourself, and getting really in touch with that feeling of, oh, yes, I do want to do this. Oh, no, I don't want to do this. When someone invites you out, for example, you're not basing your decision on, well, I said no last time, so I should say yes this time. You're checking in on what cues your body is giving you. Do I feel tired? Would I rather stay in and rest? Or am I feeling energized? Am I feeling like I want to go out and do stuff? And it sounds so like straightforward, so common sense, but I think a lot of us lose sight of the ability to do this, like check in and say, how am I actually feeling about this? What do I actually want in this situation? It can really become default to just be like, oh yeah, I'll do whatever you want to do, or like, yeah, I'll just, you know, I hope that that makes sense. You know, cues for when you want to be social or when you want to stay in. When you want to sleep and be restful, and when you want to be active and productive, when you want to eat and when you want to not eat. Like a lot of these things that seem so like, oh yeah, it's natural. Just like when you want to do it, and when you don't. That like compass can get really messed up when we ignore it a lot. It can get really messed up. And with this hermit, I feel like you're reconnecting to that inner compass that always knows what is best for you and always knows what you should do. I really hope that that makes sense. I feel like I was struggling with the wording there, but hopefully I got the point across. I also think that you're really embracing your beauty when you live your best life, and you have a lot of it. You have a lot of inner beauty and you have a lot of outer beauty. And there is a piece of advice to embrace that, to be confident, to flaunt what you have, to be proud of your body, to be proud of your features, proud of how you present yourself. You could be really enjoying expression at this time through like how you dress, how you present. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident. It makes you feel like you. There is a piece of advice as well to just accept praise, accept compliments, accept support, and really own it. I think a lot of us, when we get complimented, we're tempted to just be like, oh no, and like downplay it or like reject the compliment. You know, like, oh my God, you're so gorgeous. Oh no, I'm not. And actually, sometimes that can be a cultural thing, you know? Like if you were to be like, thank you, it might be considered rude in some cultures, or it might be like a, oh, so you agree, you think you're really pretty kind of moment, but agree, like, fuck it. Be like, yeah, I do think I'm really pretty. Just accept the compliments that come your way. Know that they are true. When people say you're beautiful and amazing and talented, it's because you are. And that doesn't mean you have to start saying like, yes, I know it. I know I am the most gorgeous creature to walk this earth. But just, you know, just accept it with a warm thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And allow yourself to just feel good and own that. I think that that's what this accept with the Empress is talking about. And yeah, accept support. There's so much around you. Aw, yeah. Let's see. I'm really jumping around. I have to make sure that I've talked about everything. The world with victory is pretty cool because the world can talk about like a sense of accomplishment, a sense of completion. I feel like you will have completed some stage here. So maybe some of you guys are graduating. That's like a big one that's coming to my mind. Or maybe you've left a job because like you kind of developed your skills as much as you could in that job and learned as much as you could, and you're looking for the next thing, you're looking for the next challenge. Or this could be the completion of a big project. Like you're wrapping up a big creative project and now it's ready to see the light of day. It's ready to be put out into the world. Maybe you're making a tarot deck or an oracle deck. But yeah, there's a feeling of a major project being brought to completion and it bringing you success and being received very well. There's a feeling of you being overwhelmed with the positive response that comes flooding in. And I think that's why this is coming up too. Like, it's important to know that you're worthy of all that praise. You're worthy of all that positive talk surrounding you. Whatever stage of completion you're reaching, whether it's in your education, in your career, your creative pursuits, or maybe all of the above, there's a great feeling of pride. Like your higher self is proud of you and wants you to know that you should be really proud of yourself. There's a feeling of you being celebrated for your accomplishments. There's a feeling of you being very inspiring to others with this world and with this Queen of Wands. You're completing something big and it's being celebrated as it should. It is being properly celebrated because what you did is very big. So for those of you who are in the beginning stages of a project right now, or beginning stages of an educational program, or maybe you're kind of in the middle of it, I think your higher self is saying you will see it through to the end. Even if there's moments of uncertainty surrounding that, I think that you will see it through and you'll be very proud of yourself and you'll be very happy that you did, because the skills that you learned there will carry over to your next endeavors. They will help you out in your next endeavors. Even if it's literally just the fact that you have a degree that will help you, like something, the journey is worth completing because something about it will help you in the next stage. It will be very valuable. And yeah, your hard work is going to be very celebrated. Definitely see you surrounded with people who think more like you. Not necessarily that they think exactly the same as you, but that they have the same, at least the same values. People who have a similar vision, that want similar things out of life, and that just get you and get what you're all about. I do actually see you socializing quite a bit when you live your best life. Like going to parties, going to events, and going home when you want to go home. I was just doing that last night, like because I was like out with friends and acquaintances. And like from the moment I felt I want to go home to when I actually went home, it took a couple hours. And like, I should have just embraced this and been like, oh, I feel like I want to go home now. I should go home. But instead I was trying to like use my logical brain and be like, well, like, let's kind of stay until like the topic of this conversation wrapped up, or let's stay for one more topic of conversation, or like maybe I'll have like one more drink and this seems like a good time, and like when in reality probably nobody would have cared. I was just like, okay guys, I'm leaving, because like the event doesn't revolve around me anyway, so like if I want to go I should just go. Yeah, anyway, little tangent there, but yeah, I kind of see you like going to events, to have fun or to network, just being around a lot of people who inspire you and who amaze you, that you really look up to. And possibly finding that they look up to you as well, and it's like a nice surprise. You may have a moment in your future where you find out someone that you were a fan of was a fan of you, and it's like a freaky moment, like, oh my god, you know who I am. I've had that a couple of times, like in the tarot community. I'm like, really? You watch my videos? Like, I watch your videos. It's like that kind of thing. So it looks like a very exciting and inspiring time for you. You're really stepping into this Empress energy. You're really stepping into this world energy. It's beautiful. So I think those are all the messages for my lovely group number 3s. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of everywhere. We're like seeing what's happening in your life, getting advice at the same time, but maybe that's a better way to do it. I don't know. I just lay the cards out and then Spirit does what Spirit does. But anyway, thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram, my pick a card readings, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these, except you get to choose the topic for them. You can check out my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. You can check out my vlog channel, which is KINO Vlogs, and you can check out my merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. Group number 3s, I'm sending lots of love to you, your tribe, your friends, your collaborators, your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number 4s, so if you guys chose the rose quartz, this is going to be your reading. I actually kind of want to move the camera so that we have more room. Okay, there we go. Let's get started with your tarot. So I did have a format in mind for this reading, but I haven't been very good at following it. The messages just kind of come out how they come out. So what we will do, I'm gonna pull 3 cards to represent what your best life looks like, 2 cards for advice on how to align with this life, and then we'll also take the bottom of the deck card as a message from your higher self. Okay. For my group number 4s, what does living their best life look like? We have the Page of Swords. What does group number 4's best life look like? The King of Wands. And the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, and advice for group number 4 as they align with this life. We have the 5 of Pentacles. And then these 2 came out together. The High Priestess and the Fool. Interesting. Okay, and then our bottom of the deck energy is the Patron. So this is actually an original card of the deck. Super cool. So let's put you here, and then for our next step of the reading, we're gonna get oracle cards to clarify all of these messages, so that we can get a better idea for what exactly each card is referring to in this spread. Okay, these decks are so satisfying to shuffle. So let's start with the Page of Swords. Why is the Page of Swords here? What is he representing for group number 4? What is this Page of Swords referring to for group number 4? We have, oh, interesting, family, parenting, and children. And what about this King of Wands? What is this King of Wands referring to? assert, to claim, to take space, to remain honest and confident. And what is the Six of Pentacles referring to? Solve, to find an answer or solution to a problem, to work something out, to untangle a riddle. Okay, and why is the Five of Pentacles here? Support, to help, to aid, to assist, to encourage, to hold space. And to clarify the High Priestess and the Fool, we have wellness, health, and self-care. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have responsibility. What do you need to take responsibility for right now? What is something you need to own up to? What needs to be reclaimed? So with this patron card, I do remember reading it in the guidebook, but I just want to make sure that I get it right. So I'm gonna bring out the guidebook right now. Okay, here it is. Bats could be a significant spirit animal for you guys, by the way. So, oh, and we also, this passage is on page 63, which could be an important number. The patron. The face on the mirror suddenly came to life. It yawned as if it had awoken from a long slumber. Ah, there you are. I've been waiting for someone who needs support. Someone who I can help be their best selves. Look in the mirror to see who that someone might be. The mirror chuckled. Oh, it's just your regular reflection? Well, that someone must be you then. Together we can do the impossible. I like this guidebook because like every card has like a passage, like a story, and then it explains the card. The patron represents our collective ability to help one another achieve great things. Until recently, this ability was reserved for the elites, but when we band together, we can all support one another and create a better world for everyone. There's nobody here but us, and that's magical. What an empowering card, and I love that it talks about having support to become your best self. So when you're living your best life, I see you involved in a lot of collaborative projects. And it's interesting too that it spoke about something that was once only reserved for the elites, but now the power is in our hands. And I think that there's a message for you guys that, and actually it makes a lot of sense that the King of Wands is here. In order for you to become successful, there's a message that you can do so independently if you so desire, and that you don't necessarily need the backing of a big corporation or a big machine, if that makes sense. And a very easy example of this is the entertainment industry, like the music industry, for example. I think in the past, it used to very much be like, if you wanted to be a successful musician, you need to be in a label, and then the label promotes you, and like you have management that books jobs for you and stuff. At least that's my perception of how it has been until recently. But now we don't really need to go through those labels because we have social media. We have ways to allow our voices to be heard. We don't need someone to approve that our voice deserves to be heard. We can just put our stuff out there. And this gives freedoms for the creator, but it also gives freedom to the consumer. Now I have so many more musicians that I can discover and listen to. I don't just have to listen to what this major label decides I should hear and that they feed to me. And that's in no way like meant to be a judgment on artists who belong to major labels or major labels in any way. I just mean that that's not the only way anymore. That all of us have the power to create something and have it be seen, and all of us have the power to choose what we consume. So I think a big theme of you living your best life is being able to express yourself freely. I do see very many of you doing something independently. So in your best life, many of you guys may be self-employed, like have your own thing going for yourself. Or at the very least, you have a passion project that you are doing freely and independently. But I will say with the King of Wands, I get the vibe of someone who doesn't do very well taking orders from other people. because they are the boss of them. They are the one in charge. And it's like they don't really do well with like authority, or they don't like being stifled. They don't like their freedom being taken away. So you guys, actually, this may even be an energy check for you to see if this is your group. If you guys are the type who you really need a high degree of freedom in your life, you want to choose what kind of work you do, you want to choose your own working hours, maybe you want to be able to work from anywhere, this is probably your group. The King of Wands is that kind of free spirit. I see the King of Wands often as like a nomad, or just the boss of their own life. They can do whatever and go wherever they want. There's a feeling of freedom. And I do see a lot of collaborations in your future, and I do see you being surrounded by a lot of creatives, and I see you really finding your own tastes. I see you supporting a lot of indie like artists and indie businesses, and not necessarily just sticking with what is mainstream and what is like majorly pumped out to the masses. Again, not that there's anything wrong with those things, but I feel like you're finding your own unique group of like artists that you support, or small businesses that you support. For example, you might go and get your clothes from this person who makes all custom pieces, instead of like going to the store where there's like a million of the same shirt. It's like you have your own unique collection of your aesthetic and the things that you enjoy, and you're supporting small businesses, you're supporting independent creators. And with that being said, this would definitely indicate that you have the means to do so. I mean, you have the funds to do so. Some of you guys have children, I think, or you will have children in the future, because we have a page here, and pages can talk about children being the youngest, so to speak, the smallest of the court cards. I just saw 1, 2, 3, 4 on the camera timer. And of course we have parenting and children here. So you may have children, or at the very least, you likely have children in your life. So like nieces, nephews, little cousins, maybe you even have grandchildren, students, or people you work with who are children. Like maybe you write children's books, or maybe you teach children or something like that. And the fact that I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, when I was talking about this, when numbers go up like that, it makes me think of a progression. And there's even like a ladder and stairs. It does make me think of progression. And I think it's very significant too that it started from 1. You know, it wasn't like 3, 4, 5, 6. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a feeling of a child starting something from the beginning and working their way up and learning. And I think there's something about you when you live your best life. Maybe it's you getting to witness this, or even be involved in that process of a child learning and growing, and that is very fulfilling to you. So just being so proud and watching your child get smarter and smarter and more capable, or your grandchild or your niece or nephew or your students or whoever it might be. It's like you're watching a child or children grow, and it's very fulfilling for you, and you may play an active role in that. You may have children come up to you, talk to you, write to you, and say things like they want to be like you when they grow up, or you brought joy to them with what you do. And that could be very touching for you. Something that you're doing is inspiring or helping the next generations. Very interesting. Now, if you really don't resonate with like having children or being around children, this could very well be you. And in that case, with all of these messages of progress, I would consider this you being in a beginner mentality in some way, and taking an approach to learning something the same way a child does. So, for example, when a child is learning how to talk, they're not reading language textbooks, right? They just have a ton of input. They're hearing the language spoken around them all the time and just mimicking. So if you're, and actually I would highly encourage you to learn something new during this time, but learn it the same way a child would, as much as you can, you know? Focus on input, a lot of input. Allow yourself to make mistakes, to slip up, to be silly. Take a hands-on approach if that works better for you. Don't just read a textbook. Well, I mean, maybe that really does work for you, but I feel like just reading a textbook and taking notes from it is too dry. I don't know. Maybe we need to make like a diagram. What is it called? A diorama. Or maybe we need to learn through games, or maybe we need to learn through songs. Things that we might associate with being childish, they could really help you learn. And there's no shame in being a beginner, and there's no shame in taking a childlike approach to things. You may be learning a skill that you feel like, for some reason, you feel like you're too old to learn it, and so you're challenging yourself. Of course, that's very subjective, and like, what does too old even mean? But using the language example again, you know, some people have the belief that like, oh, if you're gonna learn a language, you really have to do it before you're 7 or before you're 10 or whatever it is, because once you're grown up, like, you just can't acquire it as easily. So there may be some truth to that, probably, but I think if you let that get to you, what am I trying to say? Don't think that you've missed your chance to learn something, you know? Like, oh, I'm too old, I'm not going to be able to learn the pronunciation perfectly or acquire the language as quickly because like my brain is too old. Or maybe you think, oh, I want to do this kind of physical activity, but you know, I don't have my flexibility, or I don't have my mobility, whatever it might be. Or I want to go back to school, but everyone's going to be way younger than me. There's just a feeling of don't let your age stop you, and just remember that it's never too late to learn new things. Even if your brain isn't the same as it was when you were like a 2-year-old, it's just like a sponge soaking everything up. Even if your bones are cracking, you can still do anything. So be in that beginner mind, be in that childlike mind, like just ready to soak up information, and you'll do a great job. You may be working in a field also where there are like a lot of young people, or working in a field that is kind of modern or innovative in some way. Maybe you have a company, or you're in a company that seeks to do something that kind of hasn't been done before. And I know that's kind of vague, but the Page of Swords makes me think of modern, innovative, something that has a lot of potential, a new idea. Yeah. Then we have the King of Wands, which we spoke about a little bit, and we have assert, to claim, to take space, to remain honest and confident. This is giving me Aries energy. The King of Wands is fire in general, definitely Leo with this lion. Also Sag is a fire sign, but Aries and Leo for me are coming through very strongly because, you know, just being confident and straightforward and assertive, that just gives me Aries vibes. Oh my gosh, I just noticed the lizard. There's a lizard in the Rider-Waite deck, like a little lizard sitting maybe behind the King of Wands. I can't picture it right now. So it's very nice to see the lizard here. I think when you're living your best life, you are very much in charge. You are very much calling the shots. Again, I don't really see you working under anyone. I see you having freedom, career freedom, financial freedom, creative freedom. If you, actually, I guess you could move around with children, but I was thinking like if you don't have children, maybe that message of being able to like travel wherever you want or work from wherever you want is even more so, like even more strongly emphasized for you. And also lizards, are they amphibians. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of frogs. But I was thinking of a creature that can live both on water and on land. And I was thinking of, you know, being versatile and being able to thrive in different environments. I feel like when you're living your best life, I do see a lot of abundance for you. And I think that you might have like two homes. You might have like a beach house or a summer home or a cottage, or I have a base in this country and a base in that country if you're very adventurous. Or maybe there's several offices or studios that you work in, or campuses or whatever it might be. But I kind of see you in different places and thriving in a variety of different environments. And one thing about you as you live your best life is that you are definitely not afraid to take up space. If you have something that you believe in, like something you made, something you are working on, and you really believe in it, you will promote the crap out of it. So yeah, let's say like you made a song and you're not just gonna be like, hey guys, like I made this song, maybe feel free to check it out, or not, like it's fine, and just like make one post about it and then never talk about it again because you don't want to be pushy. You'll be like, and I'm not saying you're gonna become pushy, but you'll confidently be like, guys, listen to this, and you will promote the crap out of it because you really believe in it and you're really excited about it. There's a feeling of self-promotion or just really believing in yourself and confidently talking about the things that you're doing. And when you believe in yourself, it really shows. Like, if two people come to you with a song and one person's like, oh yeah, like I made this song, it's okay, I guess, and they're like mumbling and they don't look confident. Or if someone comes to you and they're like, I'm so excited about this song that I made, it's about this and this and this, and this is how I made it, and blah blah blah. Like, you maybe, well actually I can't really speak for everyone, but I was gonna say you maybe want to listen to the confident person's song because they sound like they really are passionate. Or maybe a better example of that is like two candidates at a job interview. Like, even if you are the better candidate, if you're like hunched over and looking at the floor and not making eye contact with the interviewer and not really selling yourself, like, oh, I guess I have some skills, I don't know, like, it's just not gonna go well. So being more confident and being able to just unapologetically be like, yeah, I'm good at this, or like, I'm really excited about this, I think I did a good job, I think this is my strength. Not being afraid to take up space like that is a big ingredient of you living your best life. I think it's going to bring you a lot of opportunities. It's going to make people like favor you, choose you, want to work with you, because you're going to go with the person. Like, when someone feels confident and believes in what they're doing, there's a sense of security there. It makes people feel secure to work with you, to trust you, that kind of thing. So, and you know, it could be a fake it till you make it situation. A lot of people, like, when I give presentations at school, I'm so freaking nervous, but then people come up to me after and they're like, oh my God, you seem so confident, like you seem so natural. And I'm like, oh, I am very much pretending. Like, I am very nervous and very self-conscious, but I just get up there and do it. So could be a fake it till you make it thing for some of you who are more shy, or it really feels unnatural to promote yourself in that way. I still kind of feel that way sometimes when I promote stuff or when I promote myself, even on my own platform. It just feels weird, you know? But you get used to it, right? And like, it's a shame. It's a shame if you worked so hard on something and then you don't like push it out there. You don't tell anyone about it. Like, give your work its chance to be seen. It deserves that from you. I dare say you owe it to your beautiful work. Give it the push, you know? Go hard for your work. Okay, I'm getting a little bit dramatic now. So let's move on to the Six of Pentacles, which is clarified by solve, to find an answer or solution to a problem, to work something out, to untangle a riddle. This could very well be speaking about some financial issues that are being solved, especially because we have here the Five of Pentacles clarified by support. The Five of Pentacles can talk about lack, especially financial lack, being uncertain about the future. And so to have support under this, there's a feeling of if you are currently struggling financially or struggling with something material, there will be support coming in to find an answer or a solution. There could be some information coming in for you guys, like things that, oh, I wasn't aware that I could save money in this way. I wasn't aware that I was eligible for this kind of assistance, or I wasn't aware that I was able to charge this much for my services. I wasn't aware that I can write this off as a business expense. I didn't know. Like, there may be something you didn't realize, and then once you do have that information, it makes you a lot more money or it saves you a lot more money. Because I see, this looks sticky, the way these branches are holding on to the coins. Something is helping you retain the money that you make. Because making money is one thing, keeping it is another thing. So yeah, like there's a way that you could be saving or making money right now with the resources that you have, but you're not aware of it yet. And so it's going to be brought to your awareness. Yeah. If you are actively doing research about these kind of things, that's good because it creates an easier avenue for this information to find you. I feel like it's going to find you anyway. This has actually happened to me a couple times in the past couple of days where I just think about something and then let it go. And then a few hours later, I get a message about it or I see a video about it. Like the universe is listening. So if you just set that intention, like I'm ready to receive this information, the universe will find a way. This could also be speaking about connections because the number 6 talks about reciprocity. The 6 of Pentacles sometimes makes me think of like an equal energy exchange. This could be a reconciliation that is happening in your personal life or a successful negotiation that is happening in business that is going to allow you to live a better life, like level up your life. And also please feel free to claim both of those interpretations. So there could be a reconciliation happening in your personal life and also you're successfully having business negotiations because the 6 of Pentacles is about balance. There's often a scale in the card artwork. And so there's a feeling of, okay, everyone's getting what they deserve and everyone is happy. The scales are balanced out in that way. So that's why it makes me think of like a successful negotiation. And I would also say if there's any personal relationships that you guys have where money is a concern, like maybe there's a strain on some of your relationships because of money, with a roommate, with family, with a spouse, whatever it might be. Or if you have children, then money could very well be a concern for you. Like you want to make sure your children or child has the best life possible. So I feel like those issues will be worked out. Keep yourself open to avenues that this information can come in for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help because this can also be about receiving help and we do have support here. There's some assistance or support that is available to you and this information will come in, or if we can find it in us to ask for help, help will come. Now we have not spoken about the High Priestess and the Fool, which came out together, and they're clarified by wellness, health, and self-care. It's interesting that the Fool, like the way they came out, it looks like the Fool is about to run right into the High Priestess. And it's kind of funny. I like how the Fool is running and the High Priestess is sitting. It's very on brand for the High Priestess because she does not chase things. Like, she just lets things come to her. And I feel like the Fool, I feel like this could be talking about an epiphany. Not an interpretation of the Fool that I often use, but if I'm not mistaken, the Fool is Uranus energy. I'm pretty sure it is. Or at least air energy. And so it does make me think of a sudden, what do you call it? A sudden light bulb moment, a sudden aha moment. And the High Priestess is just, whoop. I think that for those of you who, you could be struggling with health or wellness, or you could just be wanting to improve those areas of your life. And it's interesting because it's kind of opposite advice from here, where we're talking about like do research, look for new information for finances. But when it comes to your own health and well-being, I think we're entering into a period where we're moving away from, how can I say this? Like prioritizing or valuing external sources and external opinions and just listening to ourselves and listening to what feels right. And I think this goes for physical and emotional well-being. So you might hear a lot of people say, oh, this is good for your health, this is bad for your health, like you should eat this at this time and you should sleep at this time and do this and that. And I think that we can really worry ourselves because it's like, whatever it is, there will be someone out there saying this is so bad for you. There's people, literally the same thing. Like there's people who will say eating fruit is good for you. And then there's people who will say eating fruit is bad for you. There's people who will say meat is good. There's people who say meat is bad. And it just gets confusing. And even professionals have differing opinions on it. So it's like, well, what do I do? And there's this thing of like, the more you go out looking for that information or listening to everyone else, you'll start to stress yourself out because everyone's saying like, this is bad for you. Or everyone has an opinion on what you're doing. And that stress is like way more harmful than the actual thing that you're doing, if that makes sense. Like, stressing yourself out, for example, about like, oh, is this food bad for me? That stress is going to be way worse for you than the food. Like, yeah. The Fool is very simple. The Fool is very simple and very pure. So I think there's a message of when it comes to your health and wellness, or like, should I do this? Should I not do this? I got like this with skincare as well. I'm like, is this ingredient bad for my skin? Is this going to be bad? Da, 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 da. And people say different things. I was like looking up how to apply retinol and like all these different people were saying different things. Like you should put it on dry skin. No, you should mix it with moisturizer. Or like the order, you should do this first. No, you should do this first. There's just different opinions. And like they're not right or wrong, but you can really overwhelm yourself when you bombard yourself or get bombarded with all of that information. And with the Fool, it's like let's not overcomplicate it, you know? I think you have a good idea of how to treat yourself and how to be healthy. It's interesting because the High Priestess, I often look at it in a kind of psychic way, like your psychic intuition is stronger than you think. But I think this is speaking about the intuition of your body and of your heart. You know, you can tell what makes you feel good and what makes you feel crappy. Your body is smart, like it can tell you what it needs. And I'm not saying to never look at professional advice, like definitely not, but I think we need to restore the balance a little bit. Or if you're in the process of restoring this balance, I think that's a very good thing. And just get back to, this is all about just going within and listening to yourself. Like listen to your own body, see how it feels. You know, some people might say, oh, this kind of exercise is amazing for you, but you might do that exercise and feel like crap. Don't do it. Like, don't force yourself. You don't need to be feeling like crap because someone else said you should do this. You will find an exercise that makes you feel very good. And when you feel good doing it, you're gonna continue. Like, you can't keep up things that make you feel crappy. So find what makes you feel good and stick to that. Same thing with emotional matters. You know, you might see some advice about, oh, this is how you should heal your wounds. But then when you do it, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. Maybe you need a different approach. Same thing with spiritual concepts, honestly. You can really apply this to anything. But I think it's just about, when it comes to your own wellness, use discernment for what works for you. That's like a big piece of advice. And remember, I think for you guys, this maybe is not a hard and fast rule, but for my group number 4s, I just feel like a lot of the time, the stress that you might put yourself through, worrying if something is physically or emotionally unhealthy for you, that stress is worse than the thing itself. Like, it's doing you more harm. The fool doesn't think about anything. Be more like the fool. A little bit. Tip the scales a little bit so we're a bit more like the fool. Yeah. And I was just gonna say everything in moderation, but it sounds kind of cliche. But like, treating yourself sometimes is healthy. Restriction is not healthy. Feeling like crap, not good. Yeah, listen to your body. Also very cliche, but very true. Your body might want, I'm noticing there's like a reddish pink rose and there's pomegranates, and both of these cards are like red. Maybe your body is craving some red foods, like red berries, antioxidants. Apparently pomegranates are super healthy. Beets, freaking love me some beets. Anyway, and eating red foods could help with your root chakra as well, help you to feel more secure, more safe, more comfortable, more grounded. Oh, and I didn't talk about this responsibility. What do you need to take responsibility for right now? What is something you need to own up to? What needs to be reclaimed? Ooh, I just noticed you have 2 success cards. That's a good sign. 2 success cards, 2 focus area cards. And this is shadow work. Interesting. Intuitively, I kind of feel like going back to this, we're talking about this, you know, independent creative energy that is going on for you. And when we're doing shadow work, we're talking about a fear that is not easily seen, or like the root of the fear is not easily seen. And you know, there's that expression, with great power comes great responsibility. If you guys have been longing to live this life of freedom and independence and being your own boss, like if that's something that resonates with you, but you've been struggling or it's hard to find motivation, could be something surrounding responsibility. There's something about responsibility that we want to avoid, because I think with responsibility comes pressure, right? Like, yes, it's beautiful if you have the power to create your dream life. When you phrase it like that, that's awesome. But with the power to create your dream life comes the responsibility to create your dream life. And I can use myself as an example. I'm so freaking happy I went to school. Like, so freaking happy. I'm on a break now, but I got more done when I was going to school. Like, I was more productive with my work and creative stuff when I was going to school than some other times when I wasn't, because I got a structure in my life. I got a schedule in my life. And before, I hadn't had that for years. And I think I just had this feeling of like, oh, well, I have all the time in the world. Like, I'm free, so I can do it whenever. And so when I had more free time, I actually ended up doing less because there was no feeling of like, urgency is not the right word, but I guess I was like putting things off because I'm like, oh, I can do it whenever. I didn't really have a lot of discipline. I did not have a regular schedule, which was bad for me personally. Like, my sleeping was all over the place. And I just didn't feel very motivated. And like, having all the free time was great, right? Having all that freedom was great. But if you don't have that sense of like responsibility, like, I don't have a boss who's gonna tell me to start work at a certain time. You know, I don't have a teacher who's gonna tell me to start studying. Like, I have to take that responsibility on myself. And that can be difficult. And then when I went to school, I had to. I had to wake up, I had to show up. And it was tough at first, but I really got into the rhythm. And I'm on a break now. I don't know if I mentioned that, maybe. I'm on a break now, but I find that I was able to keep that, structure. So even though technically I could just lie in bed all day, like no one's stopping me, I can do whatever I want, I have that sense of responsibility that like, okay, it's like 8 or 8:30, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do my morning routine, and I'm gonna get to work. Even though there's no consequence, like no boss is gonna come in and yell at me if I don't work, I get it done. So why was I talking about that? Because there may be some part of you, you know, take it how it resonates. You can ignore me if you want. There may be some part of you that fears that responsibility. And I don't necessarily think it's an avoidance of responsibility. I think it's like a fear, because it's like, if I succeed, I'm the one who's responsible, but also if I fail, I'm the one who's responsible. Because now that I'm in charge of everything, I'm in charge of getting my butt out of bed and getting to work and staying motivated. Like, I got to take that on myself, and it's kind of scary. Like, it's all dependent on me. So if you are longing for this, like being your own boss and a more free life, there could be that fear lurking in the shadows that is masking as procrastination, that is masking as a lack of motivation, masking as laziness, but it's not that you're lazy, it's not that you're unmotivated. Or maybe you are, I don't know, you tell me. But I think for most of you, it's like the fear of having it all on you, having it all fall on you. That with great power comes great responsibility. With the power to create your dream life comes the responsibility to make your dream life a reality. And yeah, it's gonna be scary, because like, what if it doesn't go well? But you are ready to take on this. It's an honor to take on this responsibility, to be responsible towards yourself, to commit to yourself, to discipline yourself. There's a card in the Fallback Oracle deck, which I often use. Love that deck. And it says self-love equals self-discipline. And it's about like keeping your promises to yourself. And like showing up for yourself. And I like that I'm able to do that for myself now. It's nice. I'm a grown-up. Who would have thought? Anyway. Oh, we also have number 22 here, which could be significant. It's funny, if we line up these numbers like 2, 0, 22, it's like 2022, which I realize already happened, but maybe that was an important year for you guys. But I think those are all the messages that I have for this group. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these, except you get to choose the topic for them. You can find my music channel, which includes the song at the start of this video that is an original song. You can check out my vlog channel at KINO Vlogs, and you can check out, oh, this is me being that assertive King of Wands, although I don't think I sound that assertive. You can check it out if you want, or don't. It's okay. I'm sorry. You can check out my merch as well, which features the temple, the floating temple that's at the start of these videos, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags at kinotarot.com. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It means so much to me. And I'm sending lots of love to you guys, to all of your collaborators, to your children if you have them, or the children that you work with if you have them, and to your inner child, to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.